Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers Review morning briefing. It is Friday, the 31st of October. It's Halloween, as you can see, those of you that are watching us on YouTube and Facebook as well. If you are trick-or-treating out there tonight, then be safe. How goes it, Chris? Were you a trick-or-treater back in the day?
Back in the day, yes, but these days not so much. Far more important things to be doing my time and spending my money on. But I can tell you're very much loving the new StreamYard update this morning. It's been a highlight of your morning. So hopefully you can sit and flick through all these various skins on the show.
Yes.
So hopefully people appreciate your efforts this morning.
Yep. I'm actually heading out tonight, so leaving the missus and the dog in if there are any trick-or-treaters. So, good luck to them. Right, before we crack on and talk about all things at Rangers, a quick word for our podcast sponsors, Willows Fencing. If you're looking for a new fence, then these are the guys to call. They've got over 20 years of experience in the fencing trade. No job is too big or too small, and they offer free consultations as well as 10% off if you use the code Rangers Review over on their website, which is at willows-fencing.com. Right, let's get stuck right in, shall we? Well, we've not had you on, Chris, since when did Rangers play? Wednesday night? Yeah, Wednesday night. Yeah, and of course, a win over Hibs, and hard-fought win, a win that we've been looking for quite some time, a Rangers team going away and really digging in. What did you make of what unfolded? That's 2 wins on the bounce heading into Sunday, and there's a degree of optimism, dare I say.
I think there's more than a degree of optimism now. It's a really strange situation in many ways, because 10 days or so ago, if you'd asked Rangers fans, will this team win the league? Do they even have a chance of winning the league? I don't think you would have found many takers. A win over Kelly at Ibrox and a win at Easter Road, and suddenly it's, well, Hearts dropped a couple of points, and if we can beat Celtic on Sunday, that then changes the situation there, and you've still got to play Hearts a couple of times, and you've still got the Old Firm games to come, and people are almost talking themselves into the fact that this side could somehow actually go on and win the league. I think there's still big questions about how capable they actually are. I think there are there's doubts over the quality of this squad, but it has been a good couple of days for them. I think Danny Rohl has made an immediate impression. I think he's come across really well. I think he's struck the right tone so far, but we know there's still a long way to go for this side. I think the main positive for me the other night was winning in a different way. That's a game that earlier on in the season Rangers just don't win. Hibs had their chances, they had their spells of pressure. 6 weeks or so ago, Rangers lose that game, and we hear the usual excuses afterwards. That was a different way to win. I thought the manager summed it up well. I think it was Josh that asked him in the press conference about the change of style and the change of shape, and he's only been in the country, a week or so, 10 days, and he's already sussed out what you need to be successful here. Now, that's not to say it will go on and be Premiership winning successful, but I think the fact that he's shown that he can get a different tune out of this squad is definitely a bonus. There's definitely something there to latch on to. Will it be enough? It's still a big challenge. You've still got that gap to Celtic. You've still got the gap to Hearts, even though they were able to take a wee chunk out of that the other night. There's still an awful lot of work to do, but it has been nice to see people in a bit more upbeat and optimistic mood over the last few days, and long may that continue.
Yep, absolutely. Winning breeds confidence, as they say, and can't beat a couple of back-to-back victories the first time Rangers have done that this season. And of course, that clean sheet also important, as King Charles Spaniel says. First clean sheet away from home since December of last year, I think 25 games or so ago, which is mental. But hopefully that is the start of something, because all good, successful Rangers teams have had a strong backbone to it. I think that tweak where Joshua had the piece on the website yesterday, Chris, about moving to a back three. We've seen points in the Kilmarnock game, and then of course against Hibs. That is the way to go at the moment, isn't it? Solidifies Rangers, and you just feel that they're a lot more. I guess we put to the test on Sunday, but they look a lot more comfortable and robust with the back, the two wing backs.
How many shows did we do in the first few weeks of the season, speaking about Rangers being far too easy to play against because they were so passive and so slow, and far too easy to play through because the gaps, midfield and in defence especially, were just huge. We saw that in Danny Rohl's first game over in Bergen, and it was the old one pass takes out your entire back four. He not had a lot of time to work on this new system, but it does seem to have paid dividends so far. He explained the thinking behind it post-match on Wednesday. I say Josh had that excellent piece on the site that goes into a bit more detail on, one, why he's done it, and two, why it's been as effective. I don't think we'll see it every single week. We may not even see it on Sunday, but it's definitely shown that there is a different way to operate with this squad. It didn't have to be just pick up where Russell Martin left off and try and make slight improvements to that. You can do something different with it, much like Barry Ferguson did. Now, he came in last year and he took over, decided that there's a different way of doing it. Let's go and try something different. Let's try something new. And it also paid off. That Fenerbahce game, Parkhead, obviously. I think that flexibility, that willingness to be adaptable, it's certainly something that's given the Rangers fans a bit of an insight into the way that Danny Rohl operates. And Rangers fans, they knew that something had to change. As I said right at the top of the show, I think there's still doubts over this squad in terms of the quality of it. But if you have a manager that can not make huge changes over a short space of time, but if you have a manager like that can just get a different tune out of them, that's you taking a big step on hopefully what will be the road to recovery.
It makes you wonder what Russell Martin was doing up to this point. Now, we're not getting carried away, but just when you hear Danny Rohl speak, he sort of has looked at the landscape and what Rangers require, and he's immediately put it into practice. He's only been in the job over a week, but he seems to have got it sussed in a way. I think there will be bumps in the road, but Rangers look a lot more organised, structured, and they're fighting for each other. I very much doubt Danny Rohl's going to come out and say the players are suffering from anxiety in their performance. So, that is not something I expect to hear. King Charles Spaniel comes back in and says, shocking starts and only 5 points behind Celtic. They've also had a bit of a bumpy start to the season, and they've got a new manager in the dugout, of course. It will be interesting to see Martin O'Neill down there at Hampden. Almost feel like you're travelled back in time on that one. But as Joshua mentioned yesterday, I also think the Celtic will be more direct on Sunday. There might be a deviation from what we would have expected had Brendan Rodgers been in the dugout. But it will be intriguing. Two new bosses in charge of both clubs. So that adds another twist to the game. And interesting, but Barry gets in touch. He says, good morning, Derek and Chris. Are there press conferences today? There are, Barry. So they will hear from Danny Rohl at around 1:25, I think he's scheduled to speak. We're also going to hear from whatever player Rangers put up for the press around 1:15, but that is embargoed until 12 noon tomorrow. So you'll get to hear from whoever that is. Let's play a little game, Chris. Who do you think it's going to be the player?
I'm usually quite good at this game as well. So we had Connor Barron the other day there. Again, I think Connor Barron does more press conferences than actually plays games. Sometimes it feels like. Butland did the TV the other night. I'll plump for James Tavernier.
I was going to say that.
Eva Van Old Firm. It feels like a day for Tav. Which is interesting because we spoke also last week on my way back from Bergen. The last time that James Tavernier spoke, he went through this team, didn't he? He went through this squad, and that was probably one of the most emotive press conferences or interviews that James Tavernier has ever done as a Rangers captain. So interesting to see if it is him, how he sees the landscape a week on. But no, if we're going to throw our hat in the ring and stick a fiver on somebody, stick my money on James Tavernier to be the press conference man. I've not actually asked the question yet, so if it does turn out to be Tav, it's not insider dealing or any insider information here. I'm just having a stab in the dark.
I was going to say Tav, to be fair, but I'll pick someone else just for fun. Dana Life says Raskin. I will go for Jack Butland. I'll say Butland. I think it'll be one of the senior players that will be put up for the press this afternoon. Right, just when you mentioned Barron, I'm glad you touched on him because, of course, he was a standout, arguably Rangers' best performer at Easter Road the other night there. However, a big blow with the news that, he was always going to miss the semi-final after picking up 2 bookings in the previous 2 rounds against Alloa and Hibs. Weirdly, in the same minute, 78th minute, he acquired the 2 cautions. So he will sit out that game. That'd be a big blow, Chris, because given his display on Wednesday, I think he would have thought he would have been in with a right good shout of starting that game.
I think he probably would have started just solely on the back of that showing at Easter Road. I think that performance, it almost showed exactly what Conor Barron is as a Rangers midfielder. He gets about. He does a lot of work for the team. The quality on the ball, I think, could still be better. He's not alone in that, in terms of that Rangers midfield. How many transfer windows have we spoken about Rangers needing to go into the market and sign a really high quality number 6 that can be dominant physically, that can be dominant on the ball, and that can really make this team tick? I still don't think they have that profile in the squad. But for a game like Easter Road, Conor Barron is one of the guys that you would put in just because of what he can bring in a physical sense and a work rate sense. And an Old Firm game, work rate is obviously so important. It's the old cliches about winning the battles before you can win the war and that type of stuff. And Barron's the type of guy who will allow you to do that. I say the quality on the ball is an issue, but he's not the only one in that regard. So it'll be interesting to see who comes in. Do you go Diomande? Do you go Lyle Cameron, who's not had a great couple of weeks and been in and out in terms of his fitness? I'm sure he was really frustrated at how that's unfolded for him. Or do you bring Joe Rothwell in? I would be surprised if it's Rothwell, to be honest. I think he slows it down. I think he's a bit too pedestrian on the ball at times. But Danny Rohl might be able to get something, and we speak about the manager getting a tune out of Barron, certainly getting a tune out of Danilo these last couple of games. Is there something that he sees in Joe Rothwell that could maybe earn him a start? So that midfield, it's going to be so important. Again, we always speak about these games and the impact that Callum McGregor can have in them. Before that, it was the impact that Scott Brown could have in them. Rangers have good players in midfield. Can they go and show it individually and collectively and really give this side a foothold in the game? And it's then, as I mentioned there, it's then the quality on the ball, middle to front. Do they have enough quality, enough guile, enough composure to go and take the chances that hopefully they can create for themselves?
Yep. It's a big conundrum for Danny Rohl, who starts in place of Conor Barron. I think Nico Raskin starts, even though he didn't have his best of games the other night, and he's been, let's be honest, off the boil a little bit. But I think he's a given to start the game. And then it's who starts alongside him. Does Mohamed Diomande come back in? I think Diomande might get the nod, although, yeah, you're quite right to say Lyle Cameron, a few suggestions coming in saying he should be drafted back in. Bit of a surprise, perhaps, to see him not part of the squad during the week. Rothwell, I think, is someone that, we've not seen the player that Leeds United had last season. Now, he was out the team and he came back and showed a bit of verve when he returned, a bit more speed. But that being said, let's be honest, he's been a bit of a disappointment and a letdown. So that may be a real issue for Danny Rohl. I think it will be Diamandi, I've got to say, and then it's who plays alongside those two. I think he'll stick with the same formation, Chris, the sort of 3-5-2 or a 3-4-1-2, if you like, playing two up top, or do you think we'll see a deviation on Sunday given the opposition?
That's the big question, isn't it? Now, speaking there about the midfield, we're thinking it's going to be Raskin +1. It could easily be Raskin +2. It could be a Diamandi coming back in, and you could see Tello Asgard come back in. That system, it has worked well. It was also effective against Kelly at Ibrox at the weekend. It got the job done at Easter Road. Celtic at Hampden is a different occasions, a different type of game. They've obviously changed manager themselves recently, and as you mentioned earlier on, I think Celtic will go a bit more direct. They've got a squad who's clearly not in a great place either, but still have more than enough quality to go and win the game. So a lot will depend on how Danny Rohl expects Celtic to line up and what he thinks are the areas that you can really get at them. Doesn't have a lot of information. You're going off of 90 minutes against Falkirk at Parkhead. It's not really the most stringent of tests that Celtic are going to face. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he sticks with it. And we see the same lineup. You're looking at James Tavernier coming back in. I'd imagine Giga drops out, so you're then Tav, Suter, and Cornelius as your three. Midfield, I think that's interesting. Normally in these games, I'm inclined to say stick an extra man in midfield, go for the three, try and kind of pack that midfield area, try and win that midfield battle, and that then gives you the platform to go and try and win the game from there. But given how well the system has worked with just the two in there, and obviously Mike Homa on one side, I'm assuming Gislama comes back in on the other side, then I think that could be the way to go. It also gives you what Rangers fans have been calling out for a long time: two strikers, giving you more goal threat. I don't think Sharmite was excellent at all the other night there, but you see the benefit of having two strikers, two forward-thinking players on the park. They win the ball high up, or win the ball in a good area, and they're then able to capitalise on that. And it's a great finish from Danilo. He's certainly played himself into the team. If you're going to have a guy who should be in that side on the back of the last couple of games, now Danny is one of the guys that you almost can hang your hat on right now. So interested to see what the manager says about it later on. He's not going to come in and say it's going to be
my team. Yeah,
it's going to be this. It's going to be a back three. We're going to go with that 4. It's going to be Dio coming in for Conor Barron. I'd be surprised if he got into that level of detail, but really interested to see how he plays it. Because I think last week we spoke about Bran. He gets a free pass for that just because of the circumstances. He's then got a lot of credit for Kelly and Hibs, and rightly so. This is clearly the biggest game of his tenure so far. This is the game where every decision in terms of the tactics and the lineup and in-game decisions, everything is going to be poured over. The stakes are so high for it. So I'm sure he'll be looking forward to it. But it's a big test. I think we'll learn a lot about Danny Rohl over this next 90 minutes.
Yep. Lots of points coming in. Let's get to a few of those. Incidentally, I'm a big fan of two up top coming back into fashion. Long may that continue. I think that is the way forward, certainly for as far as Rangers are concerned. Dams gets in touch. Just when you mentioned Tav there, he says, could you both sing us a happy birthday for Tav? Yes, he's 34 today, is the captain. So, happy birthday to James Tavernier. But we're not singing happy birthday on the show. Maybe another time. But sorry for letting you down there, Dams. But happy birthday to Tav. That's a point coming in here just on the strikers. Full Victim says, does Chimiti have enough to occupy their centre halves? I think them not having Cameron Carter-Vickers is a big blow out for the foreseeable. Austin Trusty's come back in, of course. We've got Scales in there who, for me, I was not happy that Rangers never tested him more in the game at Ibrox. But Chermiti up top, he got the nod, of course, got the assist for Danilo. Johnny's, when we were on the post-match, he's not having him up top. He'd be playing Miovski. I think the game may just suit a Bojan Miovski, perhaps. Danilo's a certain starter, Chris. I think that is a given. It's just who starts alongside him. If Chermiti does start, he has to not only occupy their centre halves, he has to make sure that he holds the ball up, that he's physical, not diving in. He did that a number of times at Easter Road, giving away free kicks, but I would like him to take care of the ball a little bit more. But who do you think that Danny Rohl will opt for on Sunday?
I think if it's a two, it'll be Chermiti and Danilo. I'd be surprised if Miovski comes back in. Again, he might think that there's space in behind there, and behind that Celtic defence for Miovski to try and operate in. I think we've seen Rangers play with a bit more intensity. We've seen them play, try and play more often in the final third rather than being a bit slow and a bit ponderous and playing in front of teams. We've seen them try and get in behind teams. I think it's not been a great couple of weeks for Miovski. He's coming for a bit of criticism. If you are an £8 million striker, then this is the type of game that you're brought into playing, isn't it? Now, if you've got that billing, what an opportunity you've got for you. Now, guys that score winners in Old Firm games will be remembered for a long, long time. So if Chermiti is looking for an occasion to really prove himself as a Rangers striker, there's no better way of doing it than by going and scoring on Sunday. So I think it'll be him and Danilo. Like to see that partnership a wee bit more. Really pleased to see Danny get back into the team. He spoke other day there after the Ibrox game about his frustrations under Russell Martin and not getting his chance. He's got his chance now. He's certainly taken it. It was a really, really good finish that on Wednesday night. Now the touch to set it up and then to go and find the bottom corner like that. Really, really accomplished finish. If there's another one in him on Sunday, that would be great. But I think Chermiti will get the nod if it's going to be a two. But as you mentioned there, it has to be more physical. It has to occupy that Celtic centre half pairing, because that game at Ibrox, it just almost passed Rangers by, or it did pass Rangers by in an attacking sense. It's get nowhere near that Celtic defence in terms of causing them problems. It's not a great Celtic side. We know the issues that they've got on and off the park right now. They will be fragile. They're there to be got at. But on the flip side, they'll be saying, well, it's the same situation for Rangers. They can be exploited. We can turn their fans against them as well. So it's a really intriguing Old Firm game. There's no overwhelming favourite here. There's no one you can say he's destined to be the match winner or the game changer. I think the opportunity is there for a number of players, and hopefully someone like Chermiti can rise to that occasion. But it has to be better than what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I wonder when the last time that an Old Firm game was coming up, and it was the first. Well, it's not in effect Martin O'Neill's first, but in his second tenure, where it's the sort of their first Old Firm for both coaches. You must have to go a long way back for that, or maybe not. Do let us know, folks. I'm just trying to think. Ronnie Dyler and Mark Warburton maybe in that semi-final, Scottish Cup semi, but given Rangers were coming up through the leagues, that was their first Old Firm meeting. They hadn't faced each other before, but let's hope for similar. Rangers were brilliant that day. Dana Life that does my work for me says smash the like button. Yep, just before I forget, thank you for reminding me, buddy. Yep, almost 2,000 of you tuning in. It helps us a great deal if you hit that like button. And also, if you've not subscribed, hit that subscribe button as well. You never miss a video when we go live. We'll be we'll have the press conference, Danny Rohl's press conference, on the YouTube channel a little bit later on. Right, let's get a few points that are coming in before we wrap things up for the day. Just on the Hampden effect, if you like. Colin Smith says, will Hampden have more of an effect on our squad, Derek and Chris, more than that other lot? Just try to think. Rangers' record at Hampden going down, it hasn't been the best, but I think, well, I'm just trying to think. Have they enjoyed a few successes at Hampden in recent years? Of course, lost to Celtic last season. It still rankles with me, that final for the Cherny debacle. That aside, do you think it will have I think Celtic will be more at home at Hampden than Rangers, do you think, Chris? They have been there more than Rangers, I think, in recent years.
I don't see it having a massive impact, to be honest. Also, their last tip would have been the Scottish Cup final, if I'm not mistaken. They also won't have happy memories of that day, but I don't see it being that big an issue. It's quite wet up here. So interesting to see the state of the pitch. Also, the game being on Saturday, where then obviously match 2 of the weekend. That would be my only concern. But in terms of how the players handle the stadium and the atmosphere and that type of thing, I don't see it having a massive impact. Obviously, a 50-50 split puts a different dynamic in terms of the fans, but I don't think it's going to make a massive difference to this Rangers squad.
Yep. As a point that comes in, Connor says, can we loan Scott Wright for tomorrow? Oh, if only. He loved a goal at Hampden, didn't he? I've actually, he had a bad injury at Birmingham, didn't he? He's not really featured much for them. Not had the best at starts to the Championship season, I do not think. But he's been unfortunate down there at St Andrews. And just looking further afield, I guess, after Sunday and looking at the upcoming transfer windows, if you like, I've said it on record, I think Rangers need it to undertake a bit of surgery in January and beyond. Neil, with a point, do you think Daniel will add experience to this team over the next 2 windows? Given that Andrew Kavanagh said in his unveiling that they never added enough experience, then I very much expect Rangers to add some professionals that have been there and done it. I think that is an absolute given, Chris. Do you reckon?
I'll steal Josh's point here about the spine of the side and it just not being good enough, it not being up to scratch. I think if Rangers have to just stay in touch these next few weeks. We know the importance of the Christmas schedule. A lot of big games coming up. If they can stay in touch, might maybe take a wee bit more out of that Hearts lead, not lose any further ground to Celtic. Or a win on Sunday would open up the chance of potentially getting a bit of silverware in the cabinet before the transfer window opens as well, which would be great. That you then get to January and you can look at this squad and say, right, where are we short? What can we do in terms of just giving the squad and the team the required boost to give us a real chance in the second half of the season. Experience is a big part of that. Left back is obviously a big part of that. You're looking at the wide areas. You're looking at another. Now we mentioned earlier on about the midfield profile. That's maybe not something you do in January. That's maybe one that you have to wait until the summer to do, and you put a bit more money into it. But if they can just stay in touch, keep things ticking over. It has only been it's been an encouraging week, but it is only 2 games, so no one is. I think well the fans are right to be a bit more enthusiastic, and they've obviously enjoyed the last week. Hopefully they go and enjoy Sunday as well. Even if the Rangers go and win well on Sunday, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not suddenly say this side is definitely going to be champions. The squad has all got big questions to answer in terms of its quality. A number of these guys have still got questions to answer in terms of their character as well. Or can they really handle what life is going to be like as part of a Rangers side that we hope is going to challenge for the title? So experience is going to be important, and interesting to see how they handle that January window. But what they do and how they manoeuvre themselves through January all depends on where they are come the last couple of days of December. If they're in it and they've got a real chance, you would hope they go and do some good business and do it really early on. If we're sitting here in a couple of months' time and the season's all but done, January becomes a bit of a non-event.
Yep. I'll address this because Ross has asked this question about 65 times in the chat, so apologies. I'll get to it now. Ross, he says, any word on the backroom team interview process. Well, Danny Rohl was asked about it in his pre-match press conference ahead of the Hibs game. The last I heard was he said that they've got a shortlist now. He said it's important the next assistant coach helps me as well as on the content. It's not just that we have a name. I think it should be a combination. This is very important to understand the league. In the best case, it's a former player, as I said this before. And the next point is that it can help me also from the content on the pitch, because then we have a great setup. So that was only, Tuesday afternoon. And no update since then, I don't think, Chris?
Not that I'm aware of. Process still ongoing. I think there's probably bigger issues in play right now. You have the deal, you've got the game on Wednesday to deal with, and all the focus since then is also then on Celtic. So as I mentioned, I think it was Monday this came up when I was last on the show.
Yep.
I do buy into it. I can see the benefit of it. I can see why it would be a worthwhile appointment. Is it going to make a difference between Rangers winning or losing on Sunday? I don't think so. Is it going to be the difference between Danny Rohl being able to be a really successful Rangers manager or being a failure as Rangers manager? I don't think so. But I don't see it being a negative thing. It would certainly be a worthwhile addition to the staff. But I think people are maybe making it out to be a bit more of a talking point and being a bit more of an issue than it actually is. And the fact that it's not been done as a matter of urgency, I think that probably tells you where the club and how the manager sees it as well. Something that will get done, something that they want to do, but right now there's bigger issues in play at present.
Yeah, it's clear they're taking their time over it. Right, that will do us there. Big thank you to Chris as ever, and thank you to you all for interacting with the show, folks. It's very much appreciated. As I mentioned, press conference day. We'll hear from Danny Rohl later. The player embargo, that'll be available to you at 12 noon tomorrow. Incidentally, those of you that like a bit of content on a Saturday, well, you're in for a treat, because Joshua and Blair are recording in the studio, no less. Not too sure what the content's going to be. I'd imagine it will be with one eye on Sunday. So you can tune in to that on Saturday, so you'll get your Rangers review fix. And remember, the best way to consume that is via the app, which is available on Android and Apple. Right, enjoy your Friday, whatever you are doing. And if you're out going trick-or-treating for Halloween, then enjoy. Don't eat too many sweeties. And we'll speak to you a little later on. Bye for now.